How many of you listening remember Christmas clubs? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money More with Jan channel. Let's talk about Christmas clubs. What was or is a Christmas club? I haven't looked them up recently, so I'm not going to lie. I really don't know if they currently exist. Have not looked them up. But back in the very old days of the Great Depression, this is when they began. What is a Christmas club? Well, back then, how it started back in the day, people did not want to be avalanched at Christmas and broke in January. Things were tough enough during the Great Depression. Am I right? Or am I right? Okay, this was the result of the Great Depression. Okay, people were really like fearful of losing, fearful of not being ready for. They were not thinking, they did not have the buy now, pay later mentality, which is so currently all over the place. And you want to know my opinion on that? Not to sound like an old fuddy duddy, but I do believe that this problem of instant gratification is really a problem because it could lead up to potential big time debt later on. But that's its own show. Okay, seriously. I could talk about that for like 20 minutes or more on another show, and I just might do that. But for today, let's talk about Christmas clubs. Back in the old days, people did not want to be hammered down during Christmas time and broke in January, which is a good thing. That's a great way to start a new year, not in debt. So what happened was Christmas clubs was a situation where you paid, you might have made a pledge for $2, $4, $5, $10 a week, weekly. You would make go to an actual physical bank. You would have a Christmas club account. You were to place your deposits in your Christmas club account, and you really were not supposed to make any withdrawals, okay? And at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, about now, my guess is probably the first week of December. This is a guess. I although I do recall sometimes hearing relatives mentioning years ago maybe they got their Christmas club checks in November. Not sure on that one. But it was like around after Thanksgiving time, and the folks would get a Christmas club check in the mail. Okay, that I do kind of sort of remember that. And every year they went back and did it again. They would make a pledge. They would make weekly deposits, and you could not make withdrawals. So let's say that you pledged $10 a week for 52 weeks. 520 bucks back in the old days was really considered a whole bunch of money. So were Christmas clubs a great idea? Yes. And it's the idea being that people wanted results. They waited. They built up for. Another great plan back in the day, you might have heard of this, you might have used it yourself because it only ended in the middle late 80s. But some places I think might be even bringing it back. Layaway plans. It stops impulse buying. Layaway plans stops impulse buying, and you do not end up in debt. There's so much debt going on right this minute. It's nauseating. I'm not even kidding you because it's like that. Ah, who cares? Some people feel that way. Now, some people take their debts very seriously, and some people are so bold as to say, "I don't care what happens." Well, you better care, because sooner or later it comes back to haunt you. So to say I don't care, throw your hands up in the air, go, who cares? Oh, whatever. Yeah, whatever. You can't whatever everything away. We cannot whatever everything away. So back in the day, layaway was a great thing to do. You would make your little deposits on an item that you wanted to purchase at the store. And whenever you wanted, you'd come back and you'd make a payment. And then when you were all paid up, guess what? They had your item, you were all paid up. You didn't owe anybody a dime. Once again, once again, working towards something, okay? Not get the instant satisfaction, instant gratification. This this feeling of not being able to be patient, to me, is a very destructive habit. It just is. Okay? Now, let's talk about when you're a frugal person. I'm a frugal person. I think it's very important to put money where it belongs. I would rather spend a little more on something that is durable and is going to last and is going to give me, well, more bang for my buck, value, than something that might look the same, but it's a cheap fake. You think you're getting the deal, but not necessarily. Now, that's not to say that a valuable thing may never ever go on sale. Just have to do a little research and ask questions, check out the ratings of product reviews, and a little homework, a little ahead of time homework. Always the same theme: a little forethought, a little bit of planning, a little bit of homework, a little bit of asking questions. But that little bit of extra work will pay off in time. You see, that's very, very important. But back in the old days, when you got back to the Christmas Club or any passbook account, who remembers passbook accounts? Okay. I would imagine almost anybody in my age bracket should remember passbook accounts because that's what we had when we were young, right? Passbook accounts. And it was a wonderful thing. We even had those school savings programs. Okay. Amazing. I think they were absolutely amazing. Matter of fact, when I was a child, my school, as part of a class trip, literally took us to what they used to call the Bowery Savings Bank back in the day. That was part of a class trip to teach us how money works. I suggest strongly that maybe we do more class trips like that. I don't care if it's 2025 going into 26. Educating people about the value of money. Now, maybe the way money looks or currencies are exchanged are different, but some basic principles never ever go away. Like what? Like living below our means and understanding the value of a dollar. It's a lot about mindset and going back to that basic principle again with the Christmas Club. You had a goal. You did not want to be broke or not be able to buy presents or have a nice Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday or be in debt in January. Okay, you didn't want that. A matter of fact, nobody wanted that, especially back in the back in those days. Okay, nobody wanted that. So you made a plan, made a commitment. You made a self commitment. You pledged, even if it was $5 a week. Okay, $5 a week of a deposit went to an actual bank. Make sure you got there before 3 o'clock, because after that the doors are shut. Bye bye. Back in the old days, I still remember that as a kid. I remember my mother always hurrying up. Oh, we got to get there before 3. I remember days standing outside of the bank with my mother like 1 minute before 9. You couldn't get in the bank unless it was actual 9 o'clock. Those security people standing there waiting. 9 o'clock on the dot. There's a big clock. There was a big clock inside of that bank. Okay. And 9 o'clock on the dot, you were there. Everything back then was done with great precision. I think once we got into lackadaisy, half and half, so much wiggle room, I don't know. I kind of miss that structure, but that's me. Everybody's different. Everybody thinks differently. All I know is this: I think the Christmas clubs were a really fantastic idea. Do you, or did you, or a family member ever have a Christmas club? And is anybody aware of the current trends, if there is such a thing anymore? I didn't look it up, I didn't check. So, what I like to do is this: you could call it yourself a Christmas club, make a name it and claim it. You don't have to join a bank. You could use the bank you already have. You could use your automated savings and create a category called Christmas Club, okay? Because this really avoids the pressure of yeah, some people, like I always say, get caught up with the lights and the music. Who doesn't? I mean, who doesn't love that time of the year? Even if you don't celebrate the holiday, a lot of people just like get caught up with a lot of things. Then all of a sudden they wake up and it's January, and guess what? The bill comes in. January still comes, okay? So, anyway, just thought that I'd reminisce a little bit about the Christmas clubs, when they started and why. But what's more important than the actual Christmas club is the mentality behind the Christmas club, the mentality behind the layaway plans. People even use stamps, like green stamps, to utilize things, okay? Uh, The idea of saving up for and getting great joy and great pleasure out of that. I really wish that more people were more patient. For them, their lives would probably be a lot easier, honestly. Honestly. All right, everybody, thank you so very much for being here. I truly appreciate everybody's time. Don't forget to come back every single day. When? At 5 a.m. for my regular show. And now we're really like down the wire for the bonus shows. And if you have not watched any of the bonus shows, please go back to it. If you missed any show this month, go back to it. If you like a show, nobody's going to stop you from listening again. Hey, and thank you if you did. I really appreciate all of your channel support. Your channel support, we take a minute to mention. Your channel support is very, very important. What do I mean by channel support? Clicking like doesn't cost you anything. Sharing the video doesn't cost you anything. Really enjoying, if you click like though, if you really like the video, okay, that's important. Sharing the video, very, very important. Super thanks, extremely important. So, listen, I really want to let you know, as always, that I do appreciate every single one of you. Have a great day. And as always, take good care of yourself and your amazing family. Thank you.